Not too shabby. That should pretty much be the rest of Zot 2, so we can pretty safely finish off the area here, see what else there is to see. I'm going to do full clears of Zot. I know it's not always the case, but we're on a pretty strong character, so I'll play it safe and make sure we have complete, I don't know, caution-proof backup. If we need to escape out at any point, we know that we have that available. And there we go, we've also hit our skill caps once again here. Hey, you randomly got suggested VODs on YouTube, decided to pop in for the stream today, glad you caught it. Well, hey, Badman Time, thank you so much for checking us out and for dropping on by as well. I appreciate it, my friend. I hope you're enjoying the VODs. And yeah, lovely to hear from you, lovely to see you, my friend, and welcome. You can always dig into a corner too, very true. Yeah, as long as I remember that that's an option, of course. I do rant and rave about it pretty much anytime we have a Formicid going, so should be able to keep it in mind. All things considered, let's keep training some armor, and try to get to the point where maybe we can actually use the triple crossbow. Sorry. Of course, no promises, but we'll see how she goes. So I'm starting to take a bit more fire than I'd like, but not the end of the world. Curse Toe goes down like a chump as well. Holy moly, not something you see every day. And of course, let's magic map again just to give ourselves a little bit of a heads up, know what we're getting ourselves into if at all possible. And that should be just about perfect. Hello, my friends. Kill you first. Don't want any enraged dragons. Not today, please and thank you. Ooh, and another Cursed Toe. Once again, going down quickly. The Cursed Toe does have the potential to be a bit of a pain in the rear here. If we get surrounded by mushrooms, of course, our shots aren't going to be quite as helpful anymore. So something to keep in mind, but probably not the be-all end-all. At least I would hope not. We'll see how it goes. Oh, I was not paying attention. And there goes my buddy. Well, let's just get walking out here and dig ourselves into a nice little cubby hole of safety. Please and thank you. Still could take a bit more damage than I'd like. Especially, yeah, cloud of fire right on top of me. Probably not ideal. Oops, let's not retract our mandibles. Let's put them back out. And fantastic. At least we have our elect this time, so we're not gonna immediately find ourselves taking lethal amounts of damage. Holy moly. A little bit of excitement is good. Make sure that we're keeping the blood flowing. We're keeping ourselves, you know, at least slightly resistant to hubris. That's generally the best strategy moving forward, of course. But we'll see how she goes. And we're going to idealize early this time just to make sure that Ayla stays alive if we can. Hey, Railbird, how's it going? Hope things are going well on your end. Hope your weekend has been fantastic. And of course, I hope the human elementalists have been doing well. You managed to get that the 15 rune victory you were going for? Or is that still the main goal at the moment here? You know what, let's take these buddies on a little bit of a hike just to play it safe. And yeah, do you know what, as we start to see friends coming from all sorts of angles, friends in different area codes, let's recall my ancestor. Hello, buddy. And just re-enter the floor from another position here and see if we can't deal with those sons of guns. I mean, looking at the floor here, it is, you know, it's a nice open concept living space. I respect that. Sure, it gets good daylight throughout the day. A good amount of sunlight hours always is something I'm looking out for in our future potential dungeon homes. Fantastic. Do you know what, let's just take you upstairs, my friend. Once again, we'll play this safe. Wait for our ancestor to come back to the realm of the living. That's beautiful. It's great for entertainment. Now that's very true. Definitely a wonderful place for guests. You know, safe for pets and children. Not too much for them to run into in their rambunctious plane. There's a lot of good to be said for Zot 4 here. Definitely is a contender for our future. living arrangement. Okie dokes, folks. Well, mark trap, middle of this wide open floor. Oh me, oh my. It's gonna be an exciting one. In fact, first and foremost, oh gosh, I need to take care of this buddy before they start enraging all of the occupants. Do you know what? Teeth out. Let's try to take care of these sons of guns as fast as possible. Trying to think of what I could do with transference to maybe do something sneaky here. Disturbing lack of toes walking around this level, though. You're not sure you like it. Fair enough. They do make good roommates. They're always tiptoeing is the thing. You know, you're not dealing with stomping, that's for sure. Lately, the DCSS graveyard is being filled with human fire elementals. We currently have a 2-rune game going so far. Nice, and you know, such is the way of DCSS. Not the end of the world. You know what? I want an enraged shadow dragon on my side. Did I lose? Oh, I did lose my ancestor. Son of a gun. You know what? Let's dig into our back pocket here. Scroll of Summoning. Bring out the big guns. I do once again need to kill this Moth of Wrath before the Gold Dragon gets any big ideas. Fantastic. We did manage to do so. Fortunately, there is an enraged shadow dragon right next to me. All of my friends have left me. I've been betrayed. All hanging out with that gold dragon up in the top left now, so that's scary. Ever so slightly, by which I mean just absolutely terrifying. Fear is not super likely to be that effective. I could do another summoning scroll. It's a little hasty for sure, definitely using a lot of resources. But I would like to stay alive, and the rate at which the Shadow Dragon is tearing through all of our allies is a very good indication as to exactly what they'd do with me if they manage to close the gap. So more than happy to just chill on that one, play it safe with another summoning scroll. Let's not die in Zot 4 on a character this strong, shall we? If at all possible. That would be nice. Brand weapon? Okay, come on, baby. Give me the good stuff. Okay, back to triple crossbow of freezing. It is what it is, I guess. We haven't run into any Orbs of Fire yet, which just makes me terrified for what the final floor has in store for us. We're just going to get overwhelmed as far as the eye can see. But before we find those sons of guns, let's run back up to our 13 enchant weapon scrolls and let's just max out this triple crossbow, shall we? Hey Craggedy, how's it going? Always lovely to see you, friend. Hope things are going well for you. And let's see if we can survive to the end here, shall we? Just for ease of use, let's drop this enchant armor scroll, pick up these bad boys, and then I can just use click in here instead of needing to remember the set of hotkeys or set up anything. There we go. Fully maxed out triple crossbow. Still, current attack delay is 1.0 actually. Okay, I was about to say still kind of sketchily slow, but actually is doing decent damage. So that is going to be our potential answer to Orbs of Fire. Hopefully we can get some crystal spears from our ancestor to connect as well. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be okay. You're well, Dogfish Head Brewery and Meadery, then celebrated Delaware finally legalizing the green stuff today. Oh nice. Dogfish Head Brewery. I feel like I must have had some Dogfish Head before, especially since I went through a phase where I was trying a lot of meads. Meads are awesome. Definitely, like, I can't drink a lot of them because they're pretty heavy, I guess, on the stomach. But that's really neat. How was the brewery? Were you trying out like some floats and stuff, or kind of just chilling out and having a good time? And congrats, I guess, on legalization as well. I'm definitely an advocate for legalization. Especially since I knew quite a few people, and still I'm close to quite a few people that have needed to use marijuana medicinally, and it's so much nicer now. I mean, granted, for the last few years, even before legalization in Canada, it was pretty dang easy to get your medicinal license as well, but it definitely makes things a lot easier, and especially if it does a lot to, you know, either treat pain or help with sleeping, that's huge. Or if you just want to relax and enjoy it, I mean, then it's like alcohol, you know? As long as you know your limits, stay within it, all that good stuff, and that's pretty swell. It's nice not dealing with shady people, 100%. Not waiting around in a dark alley or parking lot for hours and hours. Definitely is a nice thing. Okay, well, there we go. This is why we keep the triple crossbow around, folks. Beautiful stuff. Oh gosh. Ancestor, can you survive one more turn, please? I would like to magic. Hell yeah, brother. Idealize. Not immortalize, though. That's the endgame goal, I guess. But okay, that went pretty well against that Orb of Fire, especially considering the fact that I did not swap over to my fire resistance, so oof. Oh man, the Dogfish Brew Pub has a dope float you had the other night. 16% vanilla oak aged stout with a Belgian dark chocolate gelato. So good. Today with some good ales, then a flight at the meadery. Nice. 16% vanilla oak aged stout. It definitely sounds interesting. I would love to try it. That's something that is probably better in a float than in a full package. I don't know. I'm not like a huge stout person. I appreciate stouts. Any kind of really kind of dark ale, I can appreciate the flavor. I probably won't drink a lot of them, but one, or especially in a float form, so delicious. And vanilla stout, Belgian dark chocolate gelato. Why can't I say that? Belgian dark chocolate. It's boozy as hell. You think it was heavenly in the float, but it's a lot on its own, especially at that strength, for sure. Yeah, not quite at like barley wine territory, but close enough to have the same kind of effect for sure. Oh, okay, and we can definitely use that teleport trap to get up to some fun here. It sounds really yummy. It does indeed. Yeah, there's a really good... there's a brewery here in Calgary called Dandy Brewery that makes like a wonderful oyster stout that's so like fresh. I don't know, I like a stout that's not too overpowering. That's why I like the sound of the vanilla. I feel like the vanilla gives it a bit of a lightness to it, a bit of a touch. But again, I'm not a huge stout guy, so I'm probably not the most knowledgeable in that regard. And okay, let's run up here, and we're gonna try and use this dispersal trap to our advantage. And just let enemies continually walk directly into it. Working pretty fantastically so far. A bit of an homage to the start of this run last week, where we, very early on, I think to fight, was it like Edmund or someone, that we used a dispersal trap this way? Regardless, it's nice full circle to come to. You like different beer styles, but it often depends on your mood, to be honest. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. On a baseline, across the board, you know, I like a lighter IPA. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Mexican cervezas, like a Mexican lager, but that's largely because... Actually, no, that's not even a baseline thing now that I think about it, because I was about to say it's largely because drinking them in the sun is awesome, so it's generally on a nice warm day. So that kind of fits into mood and kind of context. But probably a lighter IPA. IPAs in general, I am a fan of, as long as they're not going too hard into like, let's just condense this to be the hoppiest thing we can possibly imagine human beings could possibly create. Ooh, let's get out of net trap range. That is less than ideal, and we can start just chugging health potions. Who the heck brought you kids into this world? Huh. Yeah, it's stout something aged, you're probably in. Fair enough. Okay, still not getting any indication as to who the heck invited all these summons. Okay. Let's slow down here for a quick moment. One sneaky thing we can do if we so desire is swap places with our ancestor. I don't think it's a good idea in this context, but it's at least an option. Release spores to cause confusion if any damage is dealt. Well, fortunately we have clarity, so get absolutely rolled. 20 damage on you, my friends. You're probably the highest damage at 35, especially since I can walk away from the mushrooms. So with that in mind, let's transfer you, my friend. Take a step back, take a step back. And hum-de-dum. Still have no idea where the heck you came from, kids. How about that? Quebec has so many microbreweries, you're never short on choice. That's really nice. If you have good selection, I mean, regardless of your beer style, you'll probably find something delicious. Alberta's pretty good. Specifically, Calgary has like a really high density of breweries, so that's, you know, a pretty awesome beer scene here. I'm pretty partial to British Columbia beers. I really like a lot of the BC breweries, especially a lot of the island breweries. Like if I ever get out to Vancouver Island, especially to like Tofino, that's such a fun environment as well as delicious beer. Good stuff. Yeah, I totally, you know, I respect that beer isn't for everyone in general. So more power to you if it's not up your alley, but it's definitely something I've really enjoyed kind of getting into. I worked with my brother-in-law at a specialty liquor store for quite a while, and it was so much fun getting to try beers together, and it's like such a good source of conversation for sure. B&W is full of them. Oh, nice. I'm guessing Pacific Northwest. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, no, really good ones. Like Oregon. Doesn't Bend, Oregon has like the highest density of breweries in all of, maybe not the world, maybe the world, definitely North America. Because Bend has a lot of good stuff, and Oregon in general. That's where said brother-in-law who I worked with, him and my sister went on their honeymoon through Oregon. They did like a biking trip down the coast and inland a bit, and they went to so many like amazing breweries, and they stayed at a couple wineries as well. Super jealous. I definitely want to plan out something similar in the future with my partner. My partner does not like beer whatsoever, doesn't really like wine either, so I feel slightly bad about leaning into those. But I'm sure we could find her some stuff she likes. A nice mead she would like the taste of, but unfortunately isn't great on the like FODMAP diet sides of things. Very like heavy on the stomach to say the least, but there's a ton of wheat farming around here. Not sure if that has anything to do with it, but you'd imagine it doesn't hurt. I think I'd be inclined to agree for sure. That makes a certain amount of sense. Let's drink a resistance potion just to make sure we're not taking too many heavy hits from this fiery son of a gun. And then, okay. Who's summoning you again? Excuse me? Who invited the crowds? I feel like I'm losing my mind here. I don't know where all the summons are coming from just constantly. Oh, did I let my ancestors down? Whoopsie daisies. Sorry, my friend. Let's just bring out some buddies here. I'll like to stay safe. Fortunately, the Moth of Wrath is enraging one of my dragons, so get absolutely destroyed. Maybe. Oh gosh, as I start to take a bit more damage than I would like as well. Let's just aim at my feet here to play it safe. And then definitely don't want to become enraged myself. And actually, speaking of which, maybe I should have a bit of a backup there. We used to have the Quarterstaff of Speed. Now we're just kind of screwed, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine, right? Even though many U.S. states are legalizing weed, you work with the government, and since it's federally illegal, you could lose your job. Totally sucks, and it really does help with your mental issues. Yeah, no, right? Like that's a perfect example of why it's just kind of silly not to, especially when you have this like weird situation in the States where it's partial. You know, it's a state by state basis. Because yeah, it means that yeah, it's a federal crime. Like Jesus. And I mean that's always been a problem. With specifically, you know, ridiculous jail sentences for marijuana-based crime, which is just absurd. I mean, legalizing it not only means that the people, the consumers, don't need to go to the sketchy drug dealers, but it also means that there's a lot less incentive to become a drug dealer because you can just work at a dispensary. I had lots of friends growing up who were very much like into weed culture, and so it's cool now to see that that's a legitimate avenue, and it's kind of like all the beer heads that you see out there. It's cool stuff. States so divided too, like left versus right divide is very big here, so states swing in extremes 100%. Yeah, jails for profit is a shady concept. Yeah, see, so many industrial complexes, right? You have your jail industry, you have the military industrial complex. I mean, Canada has its own problems, don't get me wrong. We're not a heck of a lot better in many ways. Fortunately, we don't have the population, so a lot of our shadiness kind of gets swept under the rug, and we just point at the states and we're like, but look at them. We're not them, so that means we're the greatest, which isn't totally true, especially with a lot of like political divides. Yeah, we're not as bad, at least not in the same binary. We have a bit of additional choice there. It's still not perfect by any stretch, but racism is the big one that I feel like is very much more similar than people expect between the two. But man, oh man, holy moly, there we go. Pretty happy in Washington State. Well, yeah, taking, you know, with everything I just said to kind of curb my pro-Canada sentiments, Washington is pretty much Canada-lite in the best way possible. But you and your family strongly considered emigrating to Canada. Gosh darn expensive to find a house there, for sure, especially depending on where you want to live. You know, if you're in the middle of the boonies, it's not too bad. Even if you don't mind moving to like the Northern Territories, there are lots of good incentives for doing so. And it's an awesome place. I mean, that's where my family's from. I go up to Whitehorse, Yukon, every year if I can help it. It's a beautiful, wonderful place. Winter's a little bit cold, but it's not that much worse than the rest of Canada at the end of the day. A bit darker, which kind of sucks, but you know, make sure you're taking your vitamin D, make sure that you're staying healthy mentally out there. But otherwise, you get the Northern Lights in the winter, you get beautiful snow, and then in the summers where it really is at, because I am such a sucker for the midnight sun. Oh my gosh. I love nothing more than to stay up until 3 a.m. in the morning and still looking out at dusk-filled light. Our open windows certainly more left, but yes, there's still issues, and you'd have to be blind to have not seen the right-wing surge in the last decade, for sure. Yeah. Please don't end up being all right, Torinski. I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's comic book better not take a turn. Well, and I dare say they're taking our job. I can't even. What do the alt-right say? They're taking our jobs is outdated now, isn't it? I feel like that's like a meme answer, but that's got to be outdated now, right? I mean, still anti-immigrant sentiments and racism in general still rung strong in a lot of that community, you know, such as the like ultra-nationalism slant, I guess. Anyway, fortunately, I know, actually I was about to say stuff and then I thought about it for a second. I was like, living in Alberta is kind of like the worst part of Canada in that regard. I think it's more gun stuff. That's definitely, yeah, that's a good point. That's the hot topic issue right now. But yeah, no, I'm a huge advocate for gun control. I mean, I'm all for, like, you know, go to a gun range, have fun. Guns can be fun in a very controlled, safe environment where nobody's going to get hurt. And it's so unnecessary. The right to bear arms is like an outdated concept that was written when arms were, you know, single load muskets that took you about like 10 minutes to powder and get ready. So a little different when you have a semi-automatic or a fully automatic rifle. Yeah, I can pretty safely say that I'm against that. I don't mind too much. They're criminals because they're foreign, and so we should get rid of them by criminalizing being foreign, making them criminals because they're foreign. That seems to be the logic of the day. That's the best way to win any argument. As long as you are willing to ignore common sense, circular reasoning is awesome because it means you can justify literally anything you want, and the support for it then keeps supporting it. It's so great. Isn't that sweet, folks? Again, just have to be willing to ignore common sense. It's that easy. Seems so simple to simply strongly control the guns. The idea that they're taking away freedom is kind of silly. No reason to so easily obtain and use a gun dangerously. Yeah, 100%. Well, and especially like when you see the effectiveness, because I feel like, you know, the taking my freedom, it's my right, all that kind of argument. I don't agree by any stretch, but what really gets me is when people argue that like it wouldn't help anything because you just point to examples in the real world, like Australia, where it's like one mass shooting ever, and then it seemed to go pretty well. But we're betting it'll be vastly different state to state soon. I'm hoping that maybe becomes the next like big movement thing. Because as soon as we start getting more on board, like even with, you know, talking about like legalization of marijuana, that's something that as soon as some people start getting on board, it's a lot easier to justify it elsewhere. And then you get a bit of momentum and a nice snowballing effect going on. So hopefully we can do the same